Hi, I'm Jason, and welcome to Community Design Review, where we look at some of the best custom Magic cards from the Custom Magic subreddit for this week, as voted on by you, the community. Our first meme card for the week is Strongly Worded Letter. White mana for an instant, target opponent pays up to 7 life, then discards up to 7 cards, then sacrifices up to 7 permanents. What I like best about this card is how it illustrates White's ability to pay cards and mana to do absolutely nothing. If your opponent pities you enough, they may be willing to expend some of these resources in order to level the playing field. But more than likely, if they do take you up on this generous offer, it's most likely going to be to pay life to enable their Death's Shadow, discard big creatures to be reanimated, or sacrificing permanents to get death triggers. This would be a strictly better version of Strongly Worded Letter. Our second meme card for the week is Richard Stroker, 3 and a blue for a 0/13 creature plant. With Defender and tap, exchange your name with Richard Stroker's name. Definitely make sure to read the flavor context. Obviously inspired by trees of redemption and perdition, Richard Stroker can make all your dreams come true. Have you ever wanted a Magic card to be named after you? Well, Richard Stroker makes it possible. Other than that, it's a 0/13 Defender for 4, so it's a good blocker, but nothing fancy. And that takes us to our number 5 card for this week, which is Murder Most Foul. As we all know, that phrase refers to the near extinction of bird kind. 2 black-green for a sorcery, destroy each bird with flying. Pop on over to Scryfall real quick and discover there are only 13 birds in all of Magic that don't have flying. 7 of those are uncards, 3 of them are beasts, 3 of them are errata to have the creature type bird, summon Whippoorwill, and the last non-flying bird is Bronzebeak Moa. Has WotC ever heard of a penguin? Emu? Ostrich? Anyway, funny card, and in the upcoming bird-centric expansion, might actually be worth playing. But probably not. Number 4 for this week is Sauron, Master of Rings. 1 black for a 4/2 legendary creature Spirit Artificer. Kicker, 1 and a black. When Sauron, Master of Rings enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, each player creates an artifact token named Soul Ring with tap, add colorless. Sauron, Master of Rings has protection from each opponent that controls a permanent named Soul Ring. Sweet design here, very flavorful, though I will say kind of hard to tell if the mechanics fit into a mono black card. Now obviously Sauron flavorfully is definitely mono black, he cares only about himself and about power, etc. But creating Soul Ring tokens, artifact tokens that produce mana, it seems like it can be kind of black. Black's obviously had rituals and things in the past, so I think you can definitely make the argument that this is acceptable in color pie here. Of course, it's a mythic, so also you can bend a little bit more if you need to. The protection from each opponent that controls a permanent named Soul Ring feels obviously more white. White cares about protection a lot more. But the fact that you are forcing your opponents to have the Soul Ring seems like it's more black. You are giving them something that they don't want. It gives them a benefit, to be sure, but something that they don't necessarily want, and in exchange, you get protection from them. So overall, sweet card. One of the things I would say flavorfully that I think is missing is the fact that the ring you get is exactly the same as the ring they get. I realize there's not enough room on the card to say you make a special token of some sort, but the whole idea is that he gives out rings to everyone, but he makes an extra secret one for himself, which is really powerful. But overall, really sweet design. Our number 3 card for the week is Steve, Striving Deducer. 2 green-blue for a 2/2 legendary creature Human Scout. When Steve enters the battlefield, he explores once for each artifact you control, and he has an adventure, Blue's Clue, for a blue mana, instant, Investigate. Another great flavorful design that feels pretty powerful. Blue's Clue allows you to investigate, which is going to draw you a card later, but in the meantime, it gives you an artifact. Then when Steve enters the battlefield, you'll explore for each artifact you control. If you have other artifacts other than just the clue token from maybe other Blue's Clues or other cards, he's going to explore several times, which is going to be really beneficial. He can either become a big threat immediately, or he can draw you a bunch of lands. This reminds me that Andrew actually made a Blue's Clues card a while ago that's actually very similar to the adventure on this card. It's just a blue mana for a sorcery, investigate 3 times. It's kind of like the worst ancestral recall you can think of, and yet still pretty good. I mean, Pauper Affinity would love this. But anyway, Steve, Striving Deducer, really cool card, and love to see these top-down designs. Speaking of top-down designs, for number 2 this week we have Villainous Monologue. 1 black for an enchantment saga. Chapter 1, discard your hand. Chapter 2, sacrifice each other non-land permanent you control and half the lands you control, rounded up. Chapter 3, you lose 10 life. Then, if your life is above 0, each opponent loses the game. So this is the part of the story when the villain takes time, a lot of time, to divulge their plan, tell you everything that they have set up, so that you have as much time as possible in order to prevent their plan from coming to fruition. This card captures that feeling very well, though I would say it's probably a terrible card. I don't know if it's a terrible card to build around. I'm sure you can figure out a way to pretty effectively get this to work, whether it's creatures that when you sacrifice, they'll come back to the battlefield so that you don't actually lose everything, or when you discard your hand, you madness a bunch of things for a bunch of effects, or what have you. But what I do know is that this would be very unfun, because you're putting yourself on a clock, making the game really hard for you, and then your opponent is more than likely going to win, which I guess could be fun, but it just kind of feels like it ends the game in a way that's not going to be the most fun. But very flavorful. Gotta hand that to you. And our number 1 card for the week is Puppy. White mana for a 1/1 creature dog. Kicker black. If Puppy was kicked.
Nice try, Puppy!
Creatures attack you if able until your next turn. Flavorfully, I gotta give you a little golf clap. Very well executed. However, mechanically, this is much more a red ability to make your opponents attack you rather than a black ability. I get that the color black is a lot more likely to just kick a puppy for no good reason, but red is the color that can make creatures attack you. I guess blue can also do it, but red does it a lot more often, and probably a lot more recently. I don't know if blue's done it in several years. But still, kick the puppy, and you're going to get attacked for sure, because they have to. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and let us know what you thought of the cards we reviewed this week. We'll see you next Tuesday for another Community Design Review.
Whew! That was a close one.